In my last video, I talked about how my husband and I depleted our emergency fund and we're gonna build it back up to $30,000 in 30 weeks, which is a huge goal. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the things we plan to do to get to that number. Since I couldn't figure out how to share my laptop screen, I'm going to use a whiteboard. Hopefully a box should appear right here with the numbers on it. Since it turned out to be a pretty long list, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So the first thing on the list, as you can see, is that we're planning to earn about $5 by converting our coin jar to dollars, which is pretty self-explanatory. I'm estimating that the second thing on our list is gonna earn us about $20, and that is using Cash apps like Fetch, Rakuten, Upside, things like that. And I know Fetch in particular doesn't do cash back, that's more Rakuten and Upside, but I can use the gift card redemptions in Fetch to offset purchases that we would have made in cash. So I'm counting it as all the same, but it's not technically cash. And I think in the next 30 weeks, we can make about $20 through Cash apps. I kept this amount kind of low because since we're gonna be spending less, we're not going to be earning as much on the Cash apps, but I just wanted to include that. The next thing on my list is $20, sell plants. And this takes a little bit of explaining, but I'll be quick. I have a beautiful, I think it's called a pothos plant or a money plant. And I've had people like neighbors asking me if they can cut pieces off my plant because they think it's so beautiful, and it's growing gangbusters right now. It just will not stop growing. So I thought maybe I could turn this into a little side hustle where I can snip some of the sections off and repot them and sell them for a few dollars. But yeah, I really like plants and this would just be a fun project, and I'm not projecting to earn that much off of it, just in case. The next thing on the list is $30 school expense reimbursements, and it's a little complicated, but a family member offered to cover some of my husband's school expenses, and right now that's at about $30. So we're gonna be getting a reimbursement for that. The next thing on the list is pretty self-explanatory, reducing electricity use. I know a lot of people talk about this one, but I'm not gonna get super extreme with it. I grew up in a house where my dad would not turn the air conditioning or the heater on, no matter how hot or cold it was outside, and I'm just not about that life. But I think we can save about $50 over the next 30 weeks doing smaller things like using our Instapot instead of our oven, or washing the clothes with cold water instead of hot water, and using dryer balls in the dryer instead of running the dryer longer, or reducing the hot water that's needed to take baths and showers, just smaller things like that. The next thing on the list is worth about $50, switch auto and rent insurance provider. I think we're paying a little bit on the high end for our auto and rent insurance, and I just want to shop around. We've been with this provider for about a decade now, and I'm pretty confident that we can find a better price somewhere else. But of course I'm gonna call the provider and ask if they can lower our price, and if not, we're gonna switch providers. The next thing on the list is worth about $50, use student discount. As I mentioned before, my husband is in school right now, and we've already done things like switched our Amazon and HBO account to the student version, which was significantly cheaper. There's a website called Unidays, and I'm gonna look around and see if there's any other offers using my husband's student discount. The next thing on the list is yard sale, which is pretty self-explanatory. For this one, I'm gonna try to sell the smaller, cheaper items that we have around the house that I don't wanna exert time and effort into posting on, say, Facebook Marketplace or online platforms like that. Because it's really not worth the time messaging a buyer back and forth individually on a $1 or $2 item. So those things are gonna go into the yard sale. For the next item, again, $50, selling crafts. I really love making crafts. I've gotten into quilting recently, and I think I can put together some crafts and sell them either on Facebook Marketplace or to family and friends for the holidays. So this is just a fun thing that I enjoy doing, and I'm not planning to make a ton of money off of it. But I thought I'd include it because it's something. It's just a more chill option that I was thinking about. The next thing on the list is buy in bulk whenever possible. I think we'll be able to save about $100 over 30 weeks doing this. We have a Costco membership, and I'm pretty confident that we can stock up on staples like rice or soy milk or sodas, things like that we use a lot of, to save a bit of money. The next item on the list is worth about $273. Cancel Pest Control, that's currently a subscription that we have. They come out to our apartment every month, and the guy's usually only here for like 3 minutes total and charges us $39 for the month. And I'm pretty confident that my husband and I can go out and find our own bug spray and just DIY it ourselves for less than $39 a month. So yeah, $273 is about 30 weeks worth of this subscription. And if we cancel it, I'm gonna put that money toward our emergency fund instead. The next item on the list is worth about $300, and that is a gym reimbursement that I get through my health insurance. I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they have a refund if you sign up for a gym. You can just sign up for a gym as usual and submit a claim, and they'll reimburse up to $300 of your annual gym membership. The next thing on the list is medical claim reimbursements, and this is also pretty self-explanatory, but we incurred some out-of-pocket expenses with an out-of-network provider, and with my medical plan, if you get services from an out-of-network provider, you can file a claim and get some of that money back. And I'm estimating we're going to get back about $300. The next item on the list is $450. Sell stuff around the apartment, which is also pretty self-explanatory. And these are going to be more high-ticket items like furniture and anything above $20 that would be more worth it to sell on Facebook Marketplace or online platforms like Poshmark or Depop, eBay, things like that. Next on the list is $540. High yield savings account interest. And if you don't know what that is, a high yield savings account is a bank that is mostly online, so they don't have a lot of overhead expenses, and they pass the savings on to their clients. And because of that, you get way more in interest back than a typical brick and mortar bank. So I know $540 seems a bit ambitious, and it is. We currently have some money for a house down payment sitting in a high yield savings account accruing interest. And then once we start adding money to the high yield savings account for this emergency fund, we'll continue to get interest off of that as well. We may not quite make $540 over the next 30 weeks, but I just went ahead and added it to the list just in case. Next on the list is $700 for bank account bonus. This is pretty self-explanatory too. My husband and I are both going to open a bank account with a bonus, and I was looking at Chime, and right now Chime has a $350 bonus if you open an account with them, and you need an ACH deposit to a bank like this in order to get the bonus. I'm not positive about Chime Bank, but last time we transferred money from our brokerage account into the bank, and that counted as an ACH transfer. So we'll try it again. It may not work, but I wanted to include it as an option. The next thing on the list is an $800 bonus to open a credit card. Similarly, my husband would open one and I would open one, and not sure yet if we'll qualify, but I was looking at a couple different cards, and there was a Chase card, I think it was the Freedom Flex or something like that, that had a $750 bonus, so I might try that one. And if we aren't able to qualify, we'll just move on to the next thing on the list, which happens to be $800 for redeeming credit card points. And this is going to be over a 30-week period of time, and I wanted to keep it a little bit conservative since we're not going to be spending as much on our credit cards in the next 30 weeks. However, I'm pretty confident that we can make about $800 total based on the types of credit cards we have and the points that we get normally. For example, one of the cards that we have is the US Bank Shopper card or something like that, and we get 6% back at Walmart, which we do a lot of our grocery shopping and stuff at Walmart, so that's a pretty good bonus. And groceries are a big part of our budget, so I think it should be easy to reach this $800 amount. Next on the list is $1,000 extra hours at my full-time job. We aren't really encouraged to work overtime at my job, but I'm pretty confident I can work an extra hour or two here and there and make at least $1,000 in the next 30 weeks. The sun is going down, so I had to turn the light on. Anyway, sorry about that. Next is $1,350 working extra hours at my part-time job over the next 30 weeks, which I think is pretty doable. And then next on the list is $1,500 sell our old unused cars. My husband has a 2015 Ford Fiesta and I have a 2005 Honda Civic Hybrid, and they aren't worth that much right now, especially since they'll need a few repairs. My sister works with cars and she's looking at them right now to see if she can fix them herself, and if not, we'll just sell them as is. I'm pretty confident we can sell them for about $1,500 between the two of them. Next on the list is $2,400. Meal planning and prep. I think I can save about $300 a month planning and preparing some meals. So this is one my husband and I are not very good at, is planning and preparing meals, but we've tried it out the past couple weeks and it's gone really well, and we've saved a lot of money this month on groceries just doing this one thing. I'm pretty confident we can save about $300 a month going forward on groceries alone, just adding the step of planning out our meals for the month and preparing a few meals in advance, like lunch and breakfast. I also have a little stash of already prepared meals in the freezer for the days where we're craving takeout or something like that because we don't have the energy to cook. The next thing on the list is pretty self-explanatory and obvious, but for this one, I think we're going to be able to save about $2,800 over the next 30 weeks by spending less. For this one, my husband and I are doing different things to be creative, like spending cash only for certain problem categories in our budget. We're also going to try our best to do a low spend month in April and maybe continue that on to future months in order to save a little extra money. The next thing on our list is a pretty big number, $10,379. And this is going to be reimbursement from family and friends. And I know what you're probably thinking, why do people owe you guys so much money? And to be honest, this is probably several years worth of IOUs. I've gone on a few trips with family members, and then this year one of my friends is getting married and we wanted to go ahead and lock down our Airbnb. So we talked about it and decided that I would pay for the Airbnb in full with my credit card, and then people would pay me back. So I'm supposed to be getting back $1,100 for just that one thing. Another thing was that we covered Christmas dinner for my husband's family and they offered to pay us back, and I've just been putting off adding up all the receipts and getting back to them with the total. There's also some medical stuff mixed in there, and I bought some supplements for my sister that my mom is gonna pay me back for. So just little things like that. And they definitely added up. I was actually shocked when I saw this number because I did not realize we had racked up this much money in IOUs. But anyway, this is definitely a category that my husband and I are working on, which is loaning money to family and friends and then never following up and asking for the money back. But this $30,000 emergency fund goal is really important to us, so we're going to do our best to have those tough conversations with people, and hopefully we'll be able to collect at least some of the money due to us over the next 30 weeks so it can go toward this goal. Okay, so the final item on this list is the biggest category, which is $10,400. This is actually the amount that I've committed to put toward our emergency fund in the next 30 weeks. So this averages out to about $1,300 a month. And in order to hit this amount, we're going to have to be very, very, very diligent and keep things really tight in our budget and spending to the bare minimum. So yeah, in a future video, I might show you our budget and how I'm calculating things and cutting things in order to make this number. But yeah, if that sounds like something that interests you, please subscribe so you won't miss any future videos. That's all for today. I know it was a really, really long video, so if you stayed till the end, thank you so much, and I'll catch you next time.